Wait, what? It's midweek, but it's not midday, Rob.
I'm all out of sorts. And that intro
Right?
never gets old. That intro
It
never gets old.
doesn't. What are you going to do for 2024? It better be something as good as 2023.
I'm gonna have to outdo myself, and that's hard to do. When you're
That is.
when you're the best, it's hard to beat the best.
That's right. I mean, just how do you even do it?
It's
Oh my
tough
God.
being. It's hard being humble sometimes.
Right?
You know.
All right, Chester. All
Okay.
right, Chester.
What's up, best friend? How are you?
Oh my God. I am really good. It is Wednesday. We've had all kinds of amazing meetings today. So, we've had our chit chat today. We've had our meetings and getting our shit together. So that's all good, right? That's all amazing. But it is midweek. It's not midday. It's Wednesday night here. And I see we have the Get Haunted Army right here on the side. So we should probably say hello to everybody
We're
before we
here.
get started.
Let's say hello.
Let's say hello. There is Professor T front and center. Stacy, how the hell are you? I like Stacy.
Stace. Had a phone
I
call
like
with Stacy earlier, so it's nice to
Yeah.
see them.
And I wanted to say thank you, Stacy, for being on Paranormally Blonde on the side on Monday, because we had Phil Warder on and he is on his shamanic journey. And you were there to sort of help validate some of his talk on voodoo. And it was, I thought, very helpful. It was awesome to have, between Rob, you being an amazing producer and putting up everything that you put up, and Stacy, you guys were the blondes were just loaded with info on Monday. I loved it. So thank you, Stacy.
And it was
We
hands
appreciate
free. You were both got
it. It was.
hands. It was kind of pretty cool.
Had to talk. It's kind of hard to like talk and think and type at the same time sometimes, right? But
especially for the blondes.
Especially for the blondes, right? We have Miss Brittany. Fabulous Brittany is with us this evening. Hello. We have Danny Marie. How's Danny doing? Let's see. We have Lori. Lori, well, welcome to the show. Oh. Welcome to the show, like she's never been here before. Yes. We love that. We love our Lori. And Mr. Cronin, Two Brothers Extreme, right here in the house. How are you doing, Mike?
Hey, Mike.
I know, right? And I always love, because Mike says every midday, midweek, midday, he always says, best part of Wednesday. I hope it's still a good part of Wednesday for you, Mike, that it's 8 o'clock at night, not 1 o'clock. We have Sandy here with us. Hey, Sandra. We have Kevin.
Kev.
We have the fabulous Bee like Bree.
Hey, and I'm in the photo. Joe B. Joe B was with us last weekend.
You are in this photo. Look, this picture, there's another one she has of you. Yeah, that kind of freaks me out. You're looking you're very, I don't know what you're doing there. What are you doing there?
I don't know. I'm just pointing at everything.
Yeah, she looks kind of worried. There's Jenny Davis. If you guys haven't caught her fabulous show with Russ Stivers, you can catch it every Monday, either on their pages. You can do iHeartRadio, Spotify. You can watch it on YouTube and or the Get Haunted Network page. Unturned Pages. Please check them out. Hey, there's Mark Brown.
Hey, Mark.
How are you? I know. I feel like we haven't heard from you. I think you've been really busy.
He's been patiently waiting for a shirt that I shipped to the wrong person. Mark, I'm sorry. I spoke with him yesterday. He ordered his army shirt or his flag shirt, and I screwed it up and shipped it to someone else. But I'm working on it. It's fixed.
So somebody else is wearing our flag shirt? Did we just gain another follower?
It's a long story. We'll talk about that.
Okay. Jenny, we are good. We hope you're good. We hope you're doing just fine. We have Kaylee in the house.
Hey, Kaylee.
We have Speed Freak Steven, aka Ryan.
Right.
Whatever you feel like calling him. Not Ryan. We have Steven, not Ryan. We have Dee Dee is here, the other half of Paranormally Blonde. And of course, I don't know, for all of you that are participating in the dream study that she's doing, I hope it's all going well for you. We have Sam's Pretty Paranormal in the house. Hey, Sam. Jackie Kurt. She's here with us. Hello.
Hey, Jack.
We have Chris. There is Chris, the aristocrat. Hey, Chris, how are you doing? I don't know if you guys caught a little show's coming out on Hulu. Just a little show on Hulu that yours truly, Chris Smith, will be also in. It's rather interesting. I believe it's about extreme haunts, so might want to check that out. You can go to his Facebook page. There is Adam Van Kuren. We were just talking about our chattergeist. He was just talking about how his chattergeist didn't really give him the readings they were confusing. But you know what? Maybe they're not as confusing as we think they are. Maybe that's how spirit, maybe we think there's no time and space when it comes to spirit, right? They don't have that concept of time and space. So maybe they were answering something before or after your question, Adam. So maybe it did make sense to them.
Maybe.
We don't know. Maybe. Or maybe somebody's name is Noodle. You just don't know. Hello, George. How are you doing?
Hey, George.
Do we know George DaCosta? I've never seen this name before, so this must be our guest.
It's new to me, I think, but I'm terrible. I can't even remember my own name half the time.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say something about mermaids. There's Mary. There's Miss Mary from Montana Paranormal. All right. Patrick, how are you doing? I believe another Canadian. Hey, look, there's Rachel. Another Canadian. There's Rachel. Did I get everybody? Everybody's talking. Courtney, how are you doing, Courtney?
Hey, Courtney.
If you're a Facebook user, remember you have to sign in or we don't know who you are. All right. So I'm super excited. You just came off a weekend. Oh, you guys, like he just had a crazy weekend. I want to add this because this to me is just nuts. So he was at Old Hospital on College Hill. He made his return there after Girls versus Boys. He was there and they did a fabulous co-hosting with N.E.S.P.R. And weird things have been happening. Don't you think sense?
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to talk to the N.E.S.P.R boys yet, but that was a very eventful weekend, right? The drive down was fantastic. Really getting to know Dan and Wade. The investigation, I didn't get to investigate with them very much, but everything I heard was really, really good. Then the drive back was more conversation. It was just a good old time. We got a pretty odd EVP at one point, and there was a guest that showed up in a side-by-side, like just totally, it was so cool. They showed up and she was like, I'm not quite sure why we bought tickets, but we're here. She used to come to this place as a kid, to the old hospital on College Hill. And she gave me a story, and we caught an EVP that pretty much stopped the show for me. And since then, there's been some odd occurrences here, I believe, at your place. I don't know what's tied to what. Or am I hanging out with these guys for too many days? It gets things stirred up here in the house. We're gonna play at Montana, not tonight. So what I'll say is Sarah had a speech pathologist or a speech pathologist who's really not into the paranormal. Take a listen. Actually, you wouldn't look at it. I guess you could.
You could.
And there's no doubt that there is a voice there. And I think Joe B was there when we caught this. It's pretty intense. So we're going to save that because I want to get it into a format that's easily shareable and not just the audio. I want you to have background. I want you to have some imagery with it. The story I can share mostly for reasons that can't really share. So once it's there, you'll see what it's really beautiful.
Okay, but what I want to say, because that story in itself is just it is beautifully haunting story. It is on many different levels, and it left a lot of people. Hey, John. It left a lot of people really speechless, and I think it really left a mark on a lot of people's heart. But what I want to share is today during one of our meetings, Rob was walking through his home, and I straight up saw a man. Like I would have thought somebody was just there standing at the bottom of his stairs. And like, I was like, you need to, and for you that know me, I don't make these claims. I don't jump to this very often.
No. That's why she's a pain in the ass to investigate with. That's the truth. Because and even when she sees things, she doesn't see them. It's ridiculous. But Sarah was like, who who's that? And I'm like, where, what? And there have been some odd things, especially with my dog. And Danny here the other day also saw someone standing in the same exact spot. Spot.
Yeah, it was straight up like I told him it was not a shadow person. It was like somebody was wearing clothes. But the funny part about that story is, so he went back to look. So he walks up these stairs to sit where he's sitting right now. And so he was in his kitchen at the time. So I was like, he kind of walked over to the steps and he's got the phone and he's panning where it could have been. And when he panned up the stairs, that was there and he screamed. So it made it even better. He was like, I forgot that was there. But that's not what I saw, because it was somebody standing at the bottom of the stairs, arms to either side, looking at Rob. Well, I assumed he was looking at you. I can't tell you where
Might
he
have been
was
looking at you. I mean, why is it always got to be about me? Maybe he was like, who the hell is this person? Sarah.
I don't know.
Talk about her.
It was crazy. It was crazy. So I don't know if it was because of who you spent your weekend with. But let's introduce our new friends of N.E.S.P.R, Dan and Wade. Welcome, guys.
How you doing? Thanks for
Good.
having us.
Nice to meet you.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're always going to bite Wade. Everybody's really friendly on the side.
Yeah. So Wade, this is Wade's first show side. So be nice to Wade. Dan, this can't be your first show.
No, not my first. No.
Yeah,
I did plenty of podcasts.
Yeah. So listen, all I'm gonna say is we had a hell of a ride down there. Wade, my friend Wade here is the most prepared guy. If you're ever gonna go on a long investigation, you go with Wade. Right? He's like passing cookies up with on a tray with napkins and forks and like all those driving. I'm like,
if you got a long ride, make it comfortable.
He made it.
I love that.
I got gas. I come
Now,
back.
just
He's
a minute.
wiping the seats down with Clorox wipes. It's. I have never been treated so well on an investigation by any.
Rob, those bathrooms were so disgusting. You know, he's wiping everything down.
Oh, I love this. Do you see what Sam's saying? Wade, the side pieces love you. Just so you know, our beautiful family on the side here, they've wrapped their arms so lovingly around their term of being side pieces. So
Thank
they
you.
just want you to know that they love you, Wade.
Thank you.
So if I walk away from trip number 3 to Old Hospital on College Hill with anything other than it was a really good time with some really good people, Wade is he's gonna be my guy for long trips. I'm gonna rent him.
Wait, can we I was gonna say, can we rent him? Can he come and be Get Haunted's road trip connoisseur? Like he can come help us out. Like we're gonna have to like bring him. I love
the story.
Yeah. Seriously, like I love this. Snacks sound perfect.
I mean, Wade's our Alfred. I mean, he cooks for us. I mean, he stocks our supplies up with holy water that he gets at the church up in New York. You name it. Wade's good.
Any home clearing supplies, protective measures, blessed salt, etc., holy oil, got it stocked up in case a incident or case or client needs us right away. Just grab the black box and away you go.
Yeah. So
no one's this prepared.
He's the paranormal Boy Scout. I mean, we were prepared. It was absurd. I'm not joking. How many cookies did we have? We had Tate's cookies.
Come on.
We had Milanos. We had special edition Oreos. We had what else?
A lot of fun and humor and
we had fruit. We had fruit and like dip.
Oh, that's right. Right after the investigation, we had the caramel dip apples.
That was Dan's idea. That was great.
That was fantastic.
After that, we were all spent. We were so tired. Our adrenaline was empty, just shot.
And I get a bag of beef jerky thrown my way. That's what I get.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, so yeah, let me tell you, like getting to know these guys on the way down it was it was a lot of fun, and Wade, I think, quickly got used to my sense of humor. His reactions to some of my jokes are not, or are awesome in themselves, but yeah, it was really it was a really enlightening ride for me, understanding a little bit deeper about what Wade and Dan do.
Mhm.
Some stories that we got, they shared some details on some stories, and yeah, for me, it was fun. Like, I don't know. I know my driving scares some people. Um, yeah,
We got there safe.
we made it. We had a lot of smoke and pee stops, but we got there in one piece, no dings, dents, or anything in between.
There you go. Well, I think everybody on the side, all the Get Haunted crew, they want to hire you, Wade, for the Missouri State Penitentiary or Missouri State Pen for that road trip. So we'll let you know the date and we'll book you out ahead of time and
Never
get you set
been.
up.
16 hours, Wade.
Oh, really?
Can you drive an RV? Can somebody drive an RV?
I tell them
So
Do
there's
you?
not enough value on the market for me to drive.
no, we don't want Wade as 22% vision.
Yeah.
To 22. There's the twos again in my life, but Wade has 22% vision.
Yeah.
You can see close.
No, I can see far away, but
You
not
see
close.
far, you can't see shit
So,
up close.
As far as driving, no. I have a license, but I can't drive. But that's that.
Okay. You know what he could see though? He could see that camera when he scared the shit out of me coming up the stairs in the synagogue. That he could see.
There you go.
I was
There
just
you go.
standing
Joe B's
there.
going to drive.
It was all him. I was just standing there, but we were looking at a location that could have been haunted, and there were some residual effects there, but he wasn't prepared for me to be innocently getting a movie of the crew coming up the staircase. And when he came and turned that corner and saw my figure, well, let's just say he packed extra underwear. But anyway.
Well, get to know Rob. He's easily scared, Wade. So we love him.
I can't talk.
No, they're both the same.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I can't tell you, as I've gotten to know Rob and all of his friends that have surrounded him, they all have a story of scaring Rob. So welcome to the club, Wade.
Thank you.
Welcome to the club.
Congrats.
Yeah.
That was it. Glad, and you got it on film. So there you go. Good job.
Yeah. Well, it was a typical Rob moment. See, Lori right there. Lori knows. If anyone knows, Lori knows.
Lori's been around.
So let's talk about this. You guys did you did a little co-hosting. It was, I think, such an honor for us. Rob and I talked about this a lot when it was first brought to our attention that you guys would come to the old hospital with us, because we have very different investigating styles, and that was such, I think, a really cool and unique opportunity for our guests to be able to see the differences of how people can investigate and what that can mean to your investigation. How did you guys, I know you said, Rob, that you didn't get much time to investigate with them, but did you guys feel a difference with your groups at all? Like, the group coming off of Rob and then coming with you guys, and then the group coming off with Dan and Wade going to Rob. Like, how did you guys feel during that?
Oh, I felt comfortable. I think it was great working with your team. It kind of like all came together when we were investigating. And we were getting a lot of responses. I believe it was on the third floor, near the window where supposedly the person was pushed out or jumped out. And we got names. We actually got the name of the person that that jumped out the window. And also, it was kind of weird because I felt there was something else there. Somebody that just recently had passed away, and it made a connection to was Joe's son, Dominic.
Yes.
And we got a name from that, and all I saw was Dominic collapse down, starts crying, and it was kind of like holy crap, what just happened. But yeah, I mean, it turned from, you know, communicating with the spirit that was attached to the building to a spirit that was attached to a person
in the group. And it brought forth closure and confirmation for him.
So I think we should let everybody know. I have a feeling that everybody does know who you are, but for that one person that might not, you know, let's explain exactly who N.E.S.P.R is, because that right there might give an idea as to what you bring to this investigation. Who wants to go with that one? Who wants to explain exactly what that is?
Take it away.
Well, New England Society for Psychic Research was founded by Ed and Lorraine Warren back in 1952. As you, you know, go on YouTube, you go and Google them, but there are also the Conjuring movies were made about them. We're the oldest paranormal group out there, I believe, actively right now, and we still hold to the values of what Ed and Lorraine has started. So usually we take on residential cases, one-on-one cases with clients. Doing these public investigations, we just recently started doing that just because we need to promote for our paracon. But I work with a traditional Catholic church, same church that Ed and Lorraine worked with Bishop McKenna. I work with the priest that's currently there now, and we still perform exorcisms if needed. I have to go to mass, and in order for the priest to help me, so I'm kind of like slacking. I haven't been there in a while, so I know I'm gonna get it when I go there. And he usually, if he sees me there, I get an extra dose of holy water thrown at me. But he won't help unless I attend mass and you know, and being part of the church. But once I'm there and he sees it, and then I have to do confession and everything. So there's a lot to it. But anyways, that's how I work with a traditional Catholic church, is the rules. So that's pretty much what we do. And as far
what just happened?
It looks like all the monitors just switched.
You disappeared for a second though.
You're back.
You're back. And that was weird. You just you left and you came back and you took Wade's spot. Is this normal for you, Dan? Does this stuff happen when you go technical?
It usually does, especially if my house has activity, but when I talk about the paranormal or the religious aspect of it, things get a little crazy. Even in the museum, sometimes people tell me I sound like I'm underwater when I'm talking near some of the most haunted objects in the museum. And believe me, I lost multiple vehicles because of that museum and the Annabelle doll. And currently, right now, I think I just lost my truck. So yeah, I just don't want it to take my other cars that I restored. But
every
casually says that. Lost my truck.
He's one of the only few people that is trained and confident enough in his faith to move Annabelle, say for example, from her original case to the traveling case, which we'll bring to the Paracon in October.
So
and as he does that, there's always a repercussion to that, and it usually involves one of Dan's cars, and one time even cutting him out of the car, but he was unscratched.
Yeah, car was totaled.
Yeah, so people understand when Annabelle gets transported, Dan's now over. Dan is the guy that handles her. You have special gloves that I know were made by Wade, correct?
Correct.
So there's a whole story there, which I got to get filled in on. But yeah, so Dan is Annabelle's chauffeur, if you will, when she travels.
Well, hopefully I don't have to personally, move her anymore. I mean, she's into the case that I built for, to bring to the events. So I built a case that is almost exactly like Ed's case that was mounted on the wall. I just added a couple items on there for extra protection for when we bring it out to the public. Everybody's safe. I'm the one that usually gets affected by this doll when I handle her, but I get a blessing done by a priest, hands drenched in holy water, prayers, everything. So I'm not really physically hurt by her. I mean, I get drained, but not physically hurt by her. But she does whatever's inhabiting her, makes it clear that it's there. And like I said, losing vehicles, being in an accident when I was at a red light, just standing there, and 3 cars from all directions come into me when I was about to go on a case that somebody had called me up on. And I just moved to Annabelle prior to that. And like I said, I mean, I told Tony today, I think I'm retiring from moving Annabelle. And I can't afford to be buying all these vehicles,
Yeah. So I'm really curious though, Dan, like, why vehicles for you? Is there a connection with a vehicle for you? Is there something important about cars for you that this is why it's attacking them?
Yeah, but it's kind of weird because every story you hear about that doll involves a vehicle. There was a priest that came into the museum and was, handled Annabelle, picked her up, and he thought he was more powerful than the doll, but only God is more powerful than any demon. So after that, he actually came in a brand new car. He was showing it off to Ed and Lorraine, and he was heading back towards Hartford, and he got into a car accident. And the last thing that he saw was in his rearview mirror was that doll sitting in the back seat.
Oh. So,
I mean, is that one of the reasons why is always a vehicle? Anybody that handles that doll? Maybe. So
I'm curious, but that makes me now wonder, and I don't know the story of Annabelle, but could whatever's attached to Annabelle have been a victim of something that was with the vehicle? Or
I think vehicles are important because Dan, the entity on Annabelle wants to do something that will affect Dan mentally, financially, physically, and to Dan, he loves cars. It's more than a hobby. It's one of his main things. So that would be a target point that entity would pick up on. When you
I was kind of pissed off a couple of weeks ago. We had somebody in there in the museum, and I brought the Chevelle over to the house, and I step out of the museum, and I noticed that my brake lights are on the car, and that car, I mean, there's no computers or sensors or anything like that. It was like somebody had their foot on the brake pedal. So I'm there. I'm trying to, shut the lights off because I didn't want the battery to go dead. But it was almost like a Christine moment, like the car is coming to life or something. But I'm sure it was something from that museum that was messing with me, saying, "Hey, I see your car out there."
And they know they can pick up. They're if demonic, they have the wisdom of the ages, so they know what you got for Christmas at 6 years old, and they'll use anything that will really pinpoint and get to you if they can. And that's why I believe they go for the cars. For Dan.
I'm curious. So Kevin is asking, who handled Annabelle before you, Dan, and did that person have issues with cars?
I don't know. Ed's not around to talk about it, so Ed will be the one that was handling that doll before me.
Okay. Wow. So that's, I mean, you're one off. I mean, that's
kind of intense to me. At 8 years old, not even being, I was a little kid. I went to work with my father, and he used to deliver pastries and breads, rolls to the local diners and country clubs. And I went to work with him one Saturday morning. This is around 1981. And there was a motorcycle that went flying by us on the Route 25 connector in Monroe. And my father looked at me and says, "Dan, they're going to get into an accident." And a little bit further down the road, there it is, a girl on the side of the road holding her head, bleeding. And it looks like the boyfriend or the gentleman flew into the wood line with the bike, and I believe he just died instantly. Not knowing that was probably the gentleman that Ed had kicked out of the museum. earlier on that day, the guy was knocking on the case, mocking Annabelle. If you're real, put scratches on me. Ed saw that and said, "Kid, you're gonna have to leave." And a couple hours later, he died on the motorcycle on Route 25. So, did I witness that accident? Was that my connection to the Warrens and to Annabelle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'll say last year at your Paracon, I got to meet Annabelle and took a photo with her and a bunch of the other artifacts. And oddly enough, right, there were two that kind of made me the most uncomfortable. Annabelle I didn't love it. I didn't even care, honestly, to take a picture. Let's just put it this way. I was happy once the photo shoot was out of the way. I was like, okay, we're done. Move on. But it was another artifact that the satanic ritual statue, which happens to be like that one really kind of is to this day. I just don't like it. If I see a picture of it, I become uneasy. But that happens to be, Wade, your project, correct?
Yeah, I maintain the physical health of that item because it's kind of old, and Dan and I have a system down with the other team members of how to set it up and where, so it won't put stress on other parts of the artifact. So hopefully that'll be resolved. And yeah, I carry that. Now I don't like it. I don't look at it. But when I'm moving it out and putting it, we created like a cradle for it to be shipped and moved for the Paracon, for example, and it's tied down so nothing will bounce or break. I don't think of it when I'm carrying it. I think of not touching any, bumping into any doorways and knocking it. No, I'm focused on what I'm doing, not what I'm carrying. I take that power away, and I focus on getting it there safely and tied down. So, yeah, but I don't like it either. I don't even like to look at it.
Yeah. It did make me uncomfortable. So, lo and behold, we're driving. I'm talking to the two caretakers of the two things that I didn't really love out of the entire exhibit. And Sarah, you probably remember the day before I went to, before these two showed up to jump in the minivan with me, I had some weird problems with the vehicle.
You did.
It wouldn't start.
Huh.
And it wouldn't recognize what gear it was in.
When was that? When was that?
Before you got there. Before you got here, actually.
Oh, wow.
I picked the car up the night before. And I'm not supposed to have cigarettes on the property here. I go and drive around the corner, and I got to where I went. We were having a meeting, and I'm like, the car won't start. Like, it wouldn't recognize shit. So I'm like, oh boy. And it was, again, but we were talking about the trip, and it was the one and only time we had a problem, because the whole trip with us four, where there was no issues with the car.
Not at all.
So it was weird. It was a weird moment when we were driving and you start bringing up the car things. I'm like, oh, God. But
here we go.
It was also, there were car issues for me. I had a Volkswagen Passat that I loved, R-Line, that when I would leave the Conjuring house, I would have weird vehicular problems, the seatbelt alarms, the GPS, you name it. It's just what happens sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, on that property at the Conjuring house is weird, because there was one time when we were pulling up to that property and we're recording, and it just seems like when we play back the video, everything was in slow motion. As soon as we just crossed over that line, just crossing in, the where the barn area is.
Yep.
From there on, all the way to the house, slow motion.
Yeah.
And then you hear like these weird voices in the video. It was kind of odd.
Yeah. So it is an odd place. So yeah, for whatever reason, the vehicles and then some technology things.
They know how to get under your skin. They know what would affect you the most.
then I'm thinking, as he was getting ready for this trip with you guys, I mean, you start to, we know the Warrens, we know the Warren Museum, even if we don't know it personally, we know the stories, we've heard all the cases they've been on, right? So then you start talking, and I know Rob had shared with you, we don't necessarily follow that same line of thinking, but you start thinking about those things, and then you're like, this is going to be a very different Get Haunted event for these guests who said yes to coming to this, because just to be with you guys, and is it okay to share the fact, Wade, of where you are? Is it okay to say it?
Depends
You
on
can
what
say
you say.
no.
What?
Well, I'm not going to say anything bad, but you are a caretaker of the Warren Museum.
I take
So
care of the house.
Dan is the handler of Annabelle, and number one guy here. These are two very much immersed human beings in this world. That is a very big addition, in my opinion, to an investigation. And Rob, did you feel that having them there? You had this time in the car with them, you get to know them as Dan and Wade, but now you're doing investigating with them. Did you feel it?
So Sarah, you know me probably better than anybody, right? When it comes to our investigations with the public, I'm like this with them. I don't let anybody else in. It's rare, all right? I have never, not once, ever just handed a group over to anybody and said, run with it. For whatever reason, I trusted you guys, and it worked. No, I mean, part of me was super excited to see what I wanted to investigate with you guys so badly. But we didn't get to, right? Because we had different groups. And then afterwards, we kind of poked around a little bit. But I wanted to run a session with you guys. I was a little bit nervous because some of my tactics might be seen differently by you guys. And I also had a little bit of stage fright there. But no, I wholeheartedly trusted you guys. And I was hoping that the guests would walk away with two different experiences. And I believe they did, right? Because we're not a one-stop shop when it comes to that. Everybody on the team has very, very different belief systems. And while Sarah and I we're not agnostics but we just have a different view on things. And getting to know the both of you as well as I did on the way down, I see where those things mesh, right? I see where those, although they may be termed one way on one side or the other, I believe we come from a very similar approach to these things. So
I think a lot of our theories are pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, like I said, different ways of investigating. Like I said, when we're on a residential, that's different than a public investigation. There's no time to be horsing around on, especially if you're dealing with a family, kids, children, or anything like that. So we can't play around or, have that kind of fun. But when I'm on these public investigations, I love to have fun. Wade is a different character. Wade is very unique, and he's very gifted. He has a gift, so he picks up on a lot of stuff. And we go with it, and sometimes I can have fun with it when we're on public investigations. But when it's a residential, it's serious, and I take every word that Wade would say or anybody on the team. So that's the different styles of investigation for me. A public versus a residential.
Yeah. And I think everybody, I'm sorry, Wade, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was going to say the full team, it becomes like a gear, a wheel that fills. One person will fill in that area. One person will take care of that. Dan, for example, takes care of all the working with the equipment, and he's been kind enough to teach me all that aspect. I knew nothing about the electronics as up to 3 years ago. Now he'll just tell me what to get out of the bag, and I bring it right out.
Yeah. No, I mean, Wade was awesome. And I think, because it was so hot, Sarah, we did the introductions outside. It was a lot cooler.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we keep our team small. There's a couple people that we brought on to the team, and that might have been me. I was just trying to get back N.E.S.P.R where it was before, and the people that you get involved, you hope you could trust, and them being part of the family and knowing our values. And Wade is a prime example of that person that you want to be around you. We have Jimmy Penito that worked with Ed and Lorraine back in the 90s. Rick Clark worked with Ed and Lorraine. Now these guys are family, and you know that you could depend on them. Chris Galoran has been around with me since I started all this, and he's a police officer. And Tony, being a great mentor, and Lorraine mentoring me as well. It all meshes. So when I brought a couple other guys onto the team, and come to find out, when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're self-promoting themselves, attitudes. I'm not all for that, and I explain to them, guys, when we're around each other, we're family. You don't need to be recording everything. Things are private. We don't want that out there. Even pictures. I mean, just let us have our time. And one time I was with Arnie Johnson, was over at the house, and family friend, and we got this one kid over here just recording him. Arnie looks at him, it's like, "What are you doing?" And it ended up upset Arnie, because there's a lot of things that Arnie wants to speak in private, but that's between us, and nobody else should know about it. And I don't mind throwing out names. Eric Vitale was one of the ones that did that. We brought him on the team, and respectfully, I liked the kid. I helped him out, went over to his house, helped him fix up his house, and he was just always about self-promoting and wanting followers. And I told Eric, it's not about that. So hopefully, I thought he would calm down a little bit. And then, he had a fallout with a ex-team member that he was on a TV show with, and he would be, putting stuff on social media, bashing this guy. And the other guy wouldn't, retaliate on him. But I told Eric, you got to stop it, because, I'm getting calls now. And he continued doing it. So that was number 2 warning. Third warning was, after this guy moved out of his apartment, Eric the next day goes and investigates the place. And I was like, you know what? I got to let you go. If you change your attitude, take our advice, we're welcome to have you back. But he hasn't changed. We put out, I work with influencers. They put out YouTube videos. He's stalking us, and he'll put like some comments in there, here and there. Dan's still using the Annabelle story to beef up his bio. So I don't need those nasty, unhappy people in my life or around our team. So I get rid of them. I have no quarrels about that.
I want to bring up 2 points about the paranormal.
Sorry, I brought that up, but I'm a little fed up about somebody bashing me, and they have no grounds to do it. Or Tony or Arnie. You know what? Get a life.
Back to the team and how they work together. It's important. Back in the high school days, I used to do some theater, and I found that you bond with the other actors because you're on stage only depending on them to get you through the scene, and you become friends real quick. I find that in the paranormal groups, like for example the N.E.S.P.R team, we bond so very quickly and closely. Dan and I are finishing each other's sentences sometimes as far as what to do next on a case or investigation. And you have to have that trust. You have to have that, understand that look you give each other and understand what that means and how to proceed. Because you're dealing with clients who are under great duress and stress. And it's all about them.
But it's
So
not about the paranormal. Come meet us. Come talk to us. Come to get to know us. Personally, get to know me. Get to know Tony. Come to our paracons. We'll take the time to talk to you. So, and I think when you meet us, you're like, wow, these guys are really down to earth. And it's not always about the paranormal. I mean, we care about our friends that are around us, and we take care of them.
Well, I just want to add to this because everybody perked up there a little bit, Dan, when you were speaking, and Get Haunted, and specifically Rob and I are no strangers to being the center of people's dislike and stories to pass around. But I would think with N.E.S.P.R, really difficult. I would think that's a very difficult position to be in because of social media now. I think, to me, has really demonized paranormal a little bit. And I've said this several times. This is nothing new. I think that we get so focused on following and numbers that we kind of, the paranormal seems to kind of like break away from what it is we're doing, right? But I would think with N.E.S.P.R, it would be hard to understand what people are coming to you for, especially other paranormal investigators. What are they attracted to? And is it truly the vision of what Ed and Lorraine wanted? Or is it what comes with the name of Ed and Lorraine?
No, Ed and Lorraine, they have their own legacy, and they taught us well. And what we do is we continue that same legacy, with that work, and we create our own legacy. So it's not like we're building our names off of Ed and Lorraine. I don't see it that way. I'm an individual that doesn't care really to be on TV or anything. I mean, opportunities did arise, and we were. But to me, it doesn't matter. I mean, I could leave this field right now, and I have no regrets.
Yeah.
And I have values. I have a foundation. Ed and Lorraine created that foundation, and I'm sticking to it. And but like I said, when things come to be serious, and we get serious, and I don't like anybody that comes in and starts self-promoting themselves, and we're not all about that. I want this to be a family, and we all get together, and we could trust each other and respect, individual feelings, every person on the team. Or even, people that work with us, that are in the field, if I don't like what somebody's doing outside of my team and on another paranormal, I keep my mouth shut, but I stay true to myself. And that's all that matters, and you guys they could bash me, whatever they want to do, but I know what I stand for. And I have people that could back me up and say, you know what, this guy's for real.
Yeah, I'll add, look, couple things. One, yeah, Sarah's right. We are no stranger to this, and you guys caught glimpses of it. We didn't. So first of all, anytime it even came close to becoming a conversation, like, here's what I'll tell you. After 3 days with Dan and Wade, is there's no even there. It didn't feel like there was any interest. There was no, hey, so what happened? There was no digging. There was no prying. But we also were just very, very comfortable with each other. And when I tell you, there was a moment where we were sitting at a restaurant eating, and one of the wait staff came over, and they had very, very similar ideals about the paranormal. And these guys, neither one of this was out of my wheelhouse at this point. We're talking about their wheelhouse. And they weren't like, hey, we're from N.E.S.P.R.
Yeah.
Nah, they put it out there.
No,
there's no time for that.
And part of me, I'm sitting there, I'm like, do you guys even know who the fuck you're talking to right now? Like, it was just, I wanted to tell the guy, but I didn't. So yeah, what I know of Dan and what I know of Wade is I can attest to the things that Dan just said, which I had no idea that all was going to go down, but it was really good segue into, I do want to go back to one thing. Dee Dee's question. So when you two
Yeah.
are working in the museum, do you acknowledge any of the artifacts? Do you say hello, goodbye? Do you tell them to?
Nah,
You
no,
No.
no.
That
I
would be
had
government recognition. Take it
yeah.
away, Dan.
No, I had Annabelle. I mean, we took her out one time, and I didn't want to leave her in the van, so she pretty much stayed in the room with me, 3 feet from my bed. But I never give that doll recognition, so I know that she's not gonna do anything to me. The only thing that freaked me out was at 3 o'clock in the morning that morning, and I hear like this loud fucking like freight train coming at me, and it was Chris. It was Chris Lauren on the other side of the room snoring, and scared the shit out of me because I thought it was a doll, but it wasn't. And Way's the same way. We're in the Hinsdale house and trying to get sleep, and Way's over there freaking gargling rocks, and Arnie's sitting next to him trying to sleep. Arnie just gets up, says "fuck this," and gets off, goes outside, builds a fire. I thought Arnie was gonna smother Wade with a pillow. I thought the devil made me do it was gonna come back, but so Arnie and I are outside by the campfire, 4 o'clock in the morning. He's doing jumping jacks and push-ups. I'm like, you're fucking crazy, But
I didn't
no,
hear a thing.
he didn't hear it. He slept like a baby, and
But now I know. Yeah. Well, yeah. I've taken precautions from now on.
Yeah. But I like kind of what you guys are saying, and I feel like this is a very common theory is don't give this stuff recognition. Do not give it the attention it craves. So that's a little bit of, we won't go deep. This almost seems like a seek with your soul sort of conversation, Rob, but the mindset, it is keeping your mindset where it needs to be. And if we give attention, right, where energy goes, energy flows. So we don't recognize these particular or items that have something attached, then we are okay. I mean, Wade's sitting here talking to us. He's okay. You're okay, right, Wade?
When you're going to a haunted location, sorry, Wade. When you go into a haunted location, you're giving it recognition. You're feeding into the story, and then the house is going to reveal its secrets. Eventually, it's going to reveal its secrets. It just takes, what depends on what person is in there asking the right questions. Because the house is alive, and it has memories. It has thoughts. I mean, it's intelligent. Could be demonic, could be earthbound spirit, whatever. But you're giving it recognition. So whatever you're doing, you're giving it energy.
And Rob, didn't you acknowledge that the hospital in West Virginia, in Williamson, I mean, it's got an energy all its own. It's not a dormant, dead place.
Oh no. Yeah, Sarah's been there. In fact, the very first time I went down, I did a video tour with Sarah there in the basement. We saw she saw a figure. We both saw this figure standing there. Every night's different there. Every night has a different kind of story to tell. I know Rachel and Pat and Kev and Dallas have been there a bunch of times, and there's all these different stories, but there seems to be certain areas where it's more prevalent than others. What I know is, when people left your session, they were jazzed up, right? And it seemed to kind of move around. But yeah, I mean, the house, everything, it was just alive. We were there. We were in a great mood, even after the long drive. Yeah, I think our energy really worked very, very well. It
is good. I mean, like I said, I like to go on a case. I would love to have you guys, if we ever take on a residential case, I need people to go in there and do their investigation part with the equipment and everything. I like interviewing the families. I like to find, where it all started, and the healing process. I remember, when I started this all out, I was all into the equipment. Gathering the evidence, the EVPs, and then it consumes you. It really does. But I figured out early on, it's like, I wasn't getting into that. I mean, it was more, I got more out of helping somebody. And I think that's what led me to Lorraine. And she saw something in me, nobody else saw. And I ended up, working with them. And then same with Tony. Tony saw something in me. And like I said, it wasn't just because, the famous Warrens or anything. It's actually at that time in my life, I hit rock bottom, and they helped me through it. And I respected that. Lorraine treated me like I was a grandson, and Tony treated me like a son. Anything I needed, they will provide until I got on my feet. And it's a respect that I will never forget. Lorraine, I was there, helping her at the house, and I carried her body from the church, to her burial ground. I can't say how much I love that lady and what she did for me, and she brought me to where I'm at today. And I get emotional when I talk about that, because I was at a point in my life where I thought it was over, and I had a family, and it wasn't the family that I was born into. It was a family outside of that was there for me. That's why I respect them.
I kind of want to interject something here. Rob, we haven't really spoken. I mean, there are probably some people that might be like, why is Get Haunted talking to N.E.S.P.R? Like, what's going on here? How did these people meet up? And I believe if Rob had told me you guys had a long talk, on your drive down, and sort of our beliefs and universe happen, like universe just places these things in our paths. And listening to your story, Dan, and Rob, you even said it, there's a lot of similarities to you and Dan. You were like, oh my God, there's some connections here. And so this was really a chance meeting for Get Haunted with N.E.S.P.R, with you, Dan. And sort of, there was no forcing or, hey, what can we do to help? Like, how can we get to be a part of anything? There was just nothing there, except it just seemed like all of a sudden Rob was like, hey, I met Dan, or I talked to Dan, and oh my gosh, what a great guy. I don't know if you were exchanging texts. I can't remember exactly how that went, but the next thing you know, it was, Dan's like, hey, let's do an event together. And it was just like, it just kind of flowed. And there are these things that are being said, and those in between things, that outside of the paranormal, like you said, Dan, those things outside of the paranormal, they're there, like they're right there. They were placed in this path. And it's a really, to me, a really unique and eye-opening experience, I think. Even though we might not have exactly the same thoughts on how some things go, it does feel like we do, though.
Yeah, because no matter what, I mean, we're all going to meet in the middle if we allow it to happen. And like I said, I have no ego, and I try to get along with everybody, and I give them a voice as well. So it's never always my way. I might be wrong in certain situations on investigation, that I might need somebody else that might guide me there and help me, and might help the family that we're dealing with. So I leave that all open, and I can't do it by myself. Tony can't do it by himself. Lorraine, I mean, they had people there too. But we all had our issues, with people that turned on us, and it breaks my heart. It really does. I feel like the Godfather, like freaking Fredo, it hurts me, and it's like, what? I mean, I have to get tough and hard at points and say, hey, you're going for a boat ride. But it's still, no matter what, it's I don't like that. And I shouldn't have to put myself or anybody else in that situation that we have to let somebody go. But, I make a promise, and I hold to that promise, And when somebody breaks it, they cross me. That's pretty much, that's it. The trust is gone.
Here's what I'll say too. I mean, we had some pretty deep conversations, right? Wade, we talked a bit about remote viewing and some of the things that you're capable of. It was just, but they were just all natural conversations, right? And there was no, I don't think there was judgment, not even a scratch of judgment anywhere. So we had some really, sorry, you would have loved it. We had some really cool and deep conversations. Wade had kind of, am I allowed to talk about the envelope, Wade?
About the what?
The envelope.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know how it works, but
yeah. So Wade wrote down long before we ever got there in a sealed envelope, some descriptions, primarily of like the architectural features of different parts of the hospital.
I kept seeing things, and I was telling Dan. He said he's tired of hearing it. He says, "Write it down." I don't want to hear about it. Write it down. So I did.
Yeah.
And then we did a morning tour of the hospital to get the lay of the land. And I'm like, I'm not looking for the hallways and wings and which way they go. I'm looking for certain areas that I've seen before, and I wrote them down. And I'm like, finally it got to where it was like, okay, click with the camera. I'm done. Found them. Hide and seek. But I don't know how it works. But I wrote it all down in a letter beforehand.
And I like it that way. I like, Wade, never change. Just be you. And like I said, you have certain gifts, and we need that. And even your personality is just, it brings something special to our team. Everybody, like I said, on our team, Rick Clark, Jimmy Pentonito, they've been there longer than me. And I hope I earned their respect, because they're the legends that worked with Ed and Lorraine. But I believe I earned their respect, and I appreciate that. I appreciate them to come back and work with us. So like I said, I mean, everybody, I think, even you guys, giving us the opportunity to go out with you, I'm honored. You guys are saying, oh, you're honored. No, I'm more honored than you. Because I don't
than you.
I don't see it that way. I appreciate it. Shit, somebody wants to investigate with me. Cool. That's how I see it.
By the way, Wade, Stacy, the guy that I learned remote viewing from, it is on the side, or was on the side in the beginning.
He was.
And I will link you guys up, because I do think you need to watch that to maybe get an understanding of what you're doing there.
I don't know. See, I don't know if it's remote viewing. Sometimes I get the feeling, most times, where spirit is coming when we get near a location. I always tell the team, I don't want to know where we're going or why or what's there. Let me go blind and then do a investigation and pick up feelings as I'm there. It tells the story. The house will tell the story. Yeah. But usually when I get about 40 minutes from a location, and I don't know where it is or how much, we could be driving 6 more hours, but I'll get a spirit visit of extreme emotion, and I'll say, okay, I've got visitation and I'm getting details. Just leave me alone and I'm fine. If you see tears, it's fine. And so it seems like something comes to me, as opposed to remote viewing, which I have. I mean, I can see as well, but I don't understand where the images come from. I don't understand it or why, and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, that's why I'm telling you, watch take his course, read his course, and you'll learn. It might help you understand some.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I pick up on things,
got ability too.
But I let Wade go with it, and I bite my tongue, and then when I get there, I just go with it.
Yeah, all I know is I started telling a story that was rather important to me, and Dan sort of finished the first half of it for me before I ever said it, and it was freaking weird. I get it. That's the one thing I talked to Sarah about, was it was about the crows.
Oh yeah.
So, and the day it happened, I talked to Sarah about it, but again, I had different perspective on it until we.
It was the opposite.
Yeah. So who knows, right? But
Right.
so this all leads up to, Friday we get to come hang out with you one more time, and then we're going to be. Well, first let's talk about Friday, but then we're going to be at the Paracon in October. But Friday, you got yeah. I bought that last year. I sent specifically for Sarah. Friday, you gave us the invite, and I almost fell out of my driver's seat, which would have been bad for everybody. Thank you. Number one. Number two, I'm a little nervous. And number three, for the folks on the side, yeah, we're gonna live stream as long as that's cool during our visit to the Warren Museum.
Yeah, I'll take you guys around the museum, talk about the individual items. If Tony's there, Tony would do it. Well, let's see how that works out. But definitely, Wade will be there, and let's see what happens. It's a tour. It's not an investigation.
We'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
And if you didn't have fear, if you were like nonchalantly going in there, you shouldn't be there anyway.
Well, all right, let's play that video of Wade on the third level.
Well, hey, if you want to go there.
I kind of do. I think it might be a good idea.
To what?
Play that video. If it's
you want to play that video. Yeah, we're ready to go, but I do want to get to, because everybody loves this question by Leslie. So I want to get your take on this, Dan, because everybody's like, okay, I think there are several people here on the side who want this question answered to the best of your ability here. Do you think that residuals can sort of gain awareness and then become sentient? Like, how do you feel about that?
Oh, definitely. I think, like I said, if somebody goes into a location, they pick up a residual voice or something that happened in that house, it's easy to turn that around and turn it into a folklore, and then now you're giving it life. All right. And if there's something, if there's a lot of energy in that environment that, and there's something more of a demonic or something evil, it wants an identity, so it will use that to create an identity and become this topa that was just created. So this monster is growing when everybody feeds into it. So yeah, a residual could turn into something more, evil or menacing in that environment.
Take the hospital, for example. I didn't feel that there's something there that's terribly life-threatening demonic, but there are a few baddies there, spirits-wise. And they've come in, they're not residual with the hospital and its history. They've come in from people in the past 2 to 3 years, doing seances and Ouija boards, and then not closing afterwards. So they're bringing in these entities. And actually, they will gang up on the other spirits there and create a hierarchy.
And I don't like to go in a haunted location knowing anybody's evidence, what they captured. I don't want to feed into that. Because that was, you don't know, like I said, what kind of evidence they capture. It is what it is. My job is to go in there, like I said, and find out those trigger points. Who lived there? It might not be something pertained to that property. It could have been the family that lived on that property and created this haunting. The family that lived there before, nothing happened. Maybe a couple little things here and there, but then when this family went in there, it escalated. So I believe that, that family had attachments and there were issues within the family that escalated that environment. And that's just my theory. And I usually go with it.
I like that. I do like that. Hey, let's test your abilities, Wade. Let's see. Can you guess? Rob was in a band in the late 80s, and we have been trying to get the name of this band that he wore spandex with fringe, just so you know. And so he was in Hands Across America, and we have been everybody wants to know the name of this band. Wade, does anything come to you? It's 2 words. It's 2 words.
the word Rocky have to do anything with that? Rocky? And not as in rocks.
No.
No.
Don't even say the Cure.
No, it wasn't. No, God, no. All right. And by the way, this is cheating, Sarah. So Sarah doesn't even know the answer.
I don't.
Nobody does. The only people outside of my former bandmates are nobody. It's nobody.
I'll get it. I'll get that information.
Keep
Sarah,
it
this
safe.
was the worst thing you could have done.
You know what? All right, we'll talk, Dan, because we have been on this. We did a really fun Wednesday live, and it was who knows Rob the best or well. And so we had some trivia questions on the great Rob Stackwitz, and he was hands across America. So we've got to know this band name. Oh, he's okay. So he's look at this. It's endless. Y'all's connections are endless. So Wade, it's going to come to you, Wade. I have a feeling.
Yeah, I would have to meditate and focus on it and see what comes in. You know.
So Wade. We are good friends. We are good friends. I consider us good friends, and I appreciate some privacy in this situation, sir.
Thank you.
So guys, before it gets too late, I want to talk about the Warrens Seekers of the Supernatural Phantasma-Con. So anybody that's watching, please go to N.E.S.P.R.ticketbud.com or go to warrens.net to our events page, and you'll get all the information for our Paracon on October 27th and 28th. Right there, we'll tell you all of our speakers, guest speakers, vendors, and the times that what we're offering on Friday evening is just not the VIP party. We're also doing some stage shows as well. I'll be doing a midnight show there with all the items from the museum that I created the cases for. And then I'll have paranormal equipment running as well. So if anything goes off, we could explain it or try to explain it. Plus, we got David Merlin prior to that being on stage. He's a paranormal magician. So it's just not the VIP party Friday night. We also have some stuff going on stage.
This Paracon is like a big deal. This is like the big boy of the Paracons, right?
Plus, I'll be there, people.
When we first started, it took off, and the first location wasn't big enough to handle it. I mean, so many people bought tickets that day, that week to it, and it exploded. So I decided to bring it to Mohegan, and we only rented a quarter of the convention center, and that exploded. We had lines wrapping around the whole casino. They never saw anything like that. So now we're doing it this year. We're renting out the whole convention center. So now we're going to be moving the lines a lot further in. So the wait time is going to be less. So it's getting bigger every year. And, I didn't see it really going that way, but it happened. And I think we're one of the biggest Paracons in the United States right now.
And you're going to have a much larger chunk of the museum there, correct?
We're going to bring more items to the Warrens Occult Museum at Mohegan, yes.
Yeah, and Get Haunted has not one, but we have two side-by-side tables. Folks come by, can learn about our events, can learn about our merch, buy a couple shirts, would you? That's how I feed my dog.
Hey, I'm going to need an updated one of these.
Oh, don't worry, you'll get one.
Hey,
we're working on it.
Your group when you performed was the
he's not gonna let it go.
I'm gonna call it lycra spandex or fringe black.
Yeah,
I see that.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people envision that.
Fringe and black. What?
A lot of people have envisioned it. Yes, it was black. Okay, and they were. Do you want more information?
With a black fringe on it.
Yes.
Okay, I see it.
They weren't zebra striped. I felt like they were maybe.
They were black and white. No, they were black and white. All right, let's just stop this whole conversation right now.
Well,
it's going to be a huge event in late October at the Mohegan Sun. And in fact, last year they had so many people, housekeepers, when they finished their shift at 3:00, security was asking them to come down and work overtime to still take tickets and get people lined up.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
No, I'll say this. I went outside at one point to smoke, and I looked at the line of people to come in. I was like, oh my God, I've never really, aside from a concert, I've never been around a line of people like that. And it was great for Get Haunted. I mean, for us, there were people that have come to events over the last year that were like, hey, we met at the Warren Paracon. Got to meet a lot of great people. It's the first time I met Dan, actually, outside smoking. Everything.
Yeah, I mean, I was busy that whole entire day, but it's true. Like Mohegan was impressed with it, and so we work with them hand in hand, and they're trying to improve our show, and they're like giving us advice. You guys should have a live band there playing. I'm like, damn.
Rob's band could play.
Bring your guitar, I'll bring mine. We'll serenade everyone.
Well, Courtney Gaines from Children of the Corn, Malachi. He has his own band too. He wanted to play there as well. So, maybe you could hook up with Malachi, and
I'm already having nightmares about Friday. I don't need Malachi joining the nightmare crew here.
And just so everybody knows, this live walkthrough of the Warrens Occult Museum will be on the Get Haunted YouTube. So D-Hoot, you are covered. You can catch it right there on the Get Haunted YouTube and all the Get Haunted 3 pages, the 2 network and the main page. So this is, I think, learned, and what I might not have ever had the opportunity to learn, is that N.E.S.P.R is very much like the Get Haunted network, which is really just, it is about everybody's voice being heard in the paranormal. It is about every style, every belief system coming together, working together, just letting people do paranormal. Let's forget about living drama that constantly plays out. Let's bring it back to the paranormal. So thank you, gentlemen, for being the paranormal community, for being trailblazers really in the paranormal. You're carrying on a legacy. It's lovely to see, because there is so much respect for the Warrens. So to have you guys out there carrying that on, this is this Paracon. If people want to get involved with the Paracon as a vendor, and I know obviously it's too late now, but in the future, how do people is it open to anybody, or
well, we usually do at the beginning of when we put out that we're starting a new Paracon. We give them our email address, warrensparacon@gmail.com, and you don't have to wait. I mean, you guys could put in applications in early, and we could start booking vendors for next year. We're always looking for something different pertaining to the paranormal, horror. We're more getting into the horror aspect of horror movies, classic horror movies, and so we want horror vendors. So give me the freaky stuff and the scary stuff and whatever. I don't want the Christmas ornaments being sold at my Paracon. I want, and I'll let you know what you should be selling there. We're only allowed so many psychic readers at our Paracon. We might have 25. They book up fast. So I suggest if you want a table, put in early, because we only allow so many, 25, maybe 25, 15 maybe. Chris is running that, but I don't want the whole convention to be a psychic reader convention, show. So I like a mix of everything.
I love that, right? You it does sometimes. I mean, there's always, you can go to a psychic fair. Now let's look at the entirety of the community. Let's bring them all together, and then to have the Warren Museum pieces of it brought to the Paracon for people to have an opportunity that choose to, and it sounds like many choose that opportunity to be in the same room with some of these haunted items.
And not only that, we got the whole convention center, so we're going to have a 3D haunted house there that it's going to be a maze that you go walk through, and I don't know what his setup's going to be. I'm giving the guy the space, and all the money that he gets from that haunted house goes to the homeless. So it goes to a charity. I have nothing to do with it, but I thought it was pretty cool just to add that. They usually do a haunt in the local area, and I gave him the opportunity to be part of our paracon, and whoever our guests are that want to go to it, and help them out. I think they'll get more of a of a crowd
Well-rounded
versus them being
experience.
on their
This
own.
sounds great.
We want to
I love this.
educate. We want to educate the public on how
Yeah.
the paranormal works and why, and people. If you could bring 10 different people on an investigation, they're the ones who are going to trigger responses from the paranormal energies that are in a location. But we want to educate the ways of the devil and expose it through it's working in society right now, and that's what Mr. Warren was all about.
I love that. I'm sorry, I was just reading a couple comments here.
Hey guys,
Stephen,
my phone is about to go dead. I got like 1% left, so you're gonna lose me at some point. That's all.
oh no. Well, thank you so much for your time, Dan, for coming on, and thank you for giving Get Haunted a chance to meet you guys and to explore with you. And we hope to see past Monday or Friday and the Paracon. We hope to have many, many more adventures with both of you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
No.
Here he goes.
There he goes. There he goes. I would assume, Stephen, they're New England, so I'm not quite sure. The museum itself is in Connecticut, correct, Wade?
Right. In Monroe, yes.
Okay. So I'm assuming if that helps answer your question, Stephen. I think this year is going to be a big year for the Paracon. Wade, you will be there?
Oh yeah, I'll be almost like everywhere, but I'll mostly be in the artifact room, helping to answer questions that I know of, and to assist people and explain things and how and why. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
Well,
Find Wade.
I'm very excited about it.
Find Wade, sneak up on him, give him a good scare. If you go on Dan Rivera's Facebook page, you can watch a video of. Listen, he was kind enough to film me being scared. There was a point where Wade got scared, and it is on Dan's video. A little bit, about 8 minutes from the end of the video, you'll see Wade lose his shit.
Well, yeah, you will. You will see me freak out. But remember, I'm in total darkness. In the camera, you see a light. It's just a flashlight. And I'm on the 3rd floor by myself, and I'm picking up in a hallway some residual energies from that past hour. In other words, there were spirits near me, and I'm trying to read and locate them. And for some reason, I was whispering, and I don't know why that was. I was talking to the people that I could see on the screen, and again by myself, but they were there with me. So, long story short, I'm trying to find the word residual, and I couldn't think of it. And all of a sudden, I heard a boom real loud. And I yelled, "Who's there?" And it was in the hallway where the staircase was. And all I saw is Dan come running up the staircase with Lori. And I thought Dan was playing a joke on me. So I yelled, "Dan, that's not funny." Well, they heard it in the parking lot. But I was pissed at Dan for playing that bad joke and scared the heck out of me. And all of a sudden, I realized Dan's face was terrified. His eyes were big, and he was a loss for words. He says, "Oh, where are the people? Where are the men?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's just me up here. You know that. You sent me up here alone." And he goes, No, the men that were talking to you. You were talking to 2 other men. I said, "No, I'm not. The people here have all watched me be alone, and I'm talking to them. In fact, I'm whispering." And it was Dan got, we couldn't believe it. It was a phenomena, kind of like a sound envelope, where you would have 10 people in a room, in this case, 2 downstairs, Dan and Lori, and the probably a dark entity, a baddie, was throwing my voice, imitating my voice, correctly,
Mhm.
and down with two other men as we were conversing. So they thought, oh, Wade's got two investigators up with him. We might as well go up and tell, stop it. That's what I was supposed to be alone. And then when I got up there, Dan was totally perplexed why there was no one else there, and I didn't hear a thing. And the people on the camera, you'll hear me reference in the video. Well, wait a minute, these people have been with me all this time. In fact, I was
Mhm.
whispering. So it was a phenomenon we didn't realize happened at the time.
Yeah.
Because Lori and I are bantering back and forth, explaining, but we heard voices.
Yeah,
So,
Wade couldn't wrap his head around the whole thing,
No.
Yeah.
and there was a point Dan was like worried that like what the hell is happening up there. So it was really interesting. You should watch it for that value, but also for the entertainment value of Wade screaming at the
It's like the last between 8 and 5 minutes. When you see me in a dark hall whispering to you, the viewer, keep your eyes and ears open. You'll hear a big boom, and I said, "Who's there?" At first, thinking paranormal. They slammed the door or something to stop me, and then when I saw Dan run up the steps, and he did that not to scare me, but to be sure I was okay. Yeah. Then I thought it was him playing a game all along. You see how the demonic turned the tables, and anger came out of me towards Dan. You see how that happened? So until we talked and realized it, we didn't realize we're kind of manipulated. But if you got a big head around the paranormal and a big ego, it's going to be kicked in and deflated very fast. They know how to work that, but not to give them recognition, but they do.
We almost need to do a special 2024 event where it's come investigate with Wade.
No.
Yes.
Like everybody else.
Yes.
No.
Wade doesn't like attention, but you're coming. Here's what I want to say. Wade, listen, I honestly, it's rare that I travel with anybody and actually like them.
Oh, thank you.
You're one of those people.
Thank you.
Now, don't get a big head over it because that could change rather quickly.
There's no time for that.
If there are no tapes on our next trip, you're out. It's real simple.
Yeah.
But I do want to say to everybody on the side, there's a lot of new faces for us. Thanks for coming by and seeing us. Get Haunted. Sarah and I have built this company over the past year and a half on some of the very same principles that we've talked about here tonight and on our long trip, Wade, where we just want what's best for the community. It's really not about us, even though we're always talking, right? Sarah and I like to go live and talk to people, but it is about the 18 people, Wade, that you got to spend a very interesting night at the old hospital on College Hill in West Virginia, and you never made it about you, right? And
actually, they were a delight, and I told them it's about them because they're
and that's our motto too, and they appreciated it. They loved you.
Yeah, either a spirit's going to react to them or not. Everyone is different.
That's the truth. But seriously, thank you for doing that. For whatever reason, I was so comfortable just handing over those people to you. Got half of them to you. To the people on the side, come check us out with Wade. Every other Thursday, Sarah and I do crazy deep dive kind of chats where we get into some of the things you and I chatted about down in West Virginia, where we start kind of deconstructing almost. Oh, and by the way, deconstructing your fear. Sarah wants to link up with you and talk about that.
I'm obsessed, Wade.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. No, yeah. It's look, everyone is going to get scared. I got scared. It's on video. Have a good laugh. But at my expense. No ego. My point is, there's no time for that. I have felt extreme fear in my life. And your body locks, your breath gets shallow. And I have a little technique which can identify the fear. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's overtaken me. And how to let it go so you don't feed. If you run down the hall screaming and yelling for the parking lot, you're feeding what's scaring you. They're going to eat that energy up. So I realize you're scared, allow it, slowly breathe, move a neck, move a leg, move an arm, you're walking down a hole that you were frozen in. They're losing control over you, meaning the spirits, and you gain your own self-awareness and continue on with the investigation.
Now, for me, the best part of that whole thing is if we had actually had a chance to run people through your course.
Yeah.
And then have your moment there. It would have been my favorite.
And what's funny, and we laughed about this, is that the person who was talking to the people beginning about identifying fear and when it starts to take over your body is the one who got his blip squirted out, ego ruined in the staircase when I got the hell scared. I mean, I haven't been that scared in at least 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that was rough.
Well, there you go. So get haunted. We love you. And then we scare the whatever out of you.
Yeah. Wade, you need your own podcast. Kevin is suggesting, he's like, does Wade have his own podcast? And I could set you up on the Get Haunted Paranormal podcast program, and we can get you right in there every week.
Thanks.
You could go live and talk to
Kevin.
people.
Thank you. This is the first one. I stay behind the scenes. I'm the guy that's on the floor taping down the mic cord. I'm the guy who's emptying the garbage. I'm behind the scenes. You rarely see me.
Except you're kind of beloved now, Wade. Everybody on the side is like, we want more Wade.
Oh,
so we might, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's your
funny.
podcast. We want more Wade.
Dan shakes his head when I'm in the museum because I'm sometimes dusting, vacuuming, sweeping, arranging. This looks like it's going to fall soon, Dan. And, and you just, I'm in there puttering. So, it's, what can I say? Once a Virgo, always a Virgo. You can't take it out of me.
How about the wading pool? Get it? Oh, Wade. I'm your new agent.
Wade.
Sarah and I are your agents.
I don't really do media.
You're doing it now. You're doing it right now.
You're doing it now, and you're doing it beautifully.
Well, thank you. First time for everything. But if I have something to contribute, by the way, I just want to say, we talked about this in the car. Now, this is an important part.
Okay, go ahead.
In the paranormal world and the paranormal groups, we're all here basically to say there's life, prove there's life after death in this world, whatever you believe in, the big wheel, the spokes of life. But so that, and that's what I was saying to Rob. I don't know why different groups criticize each other or compete with each other. We're doing the same thing, and we're educating the world and ourselves. Always something more to learn. So get off your high horse, not you two, and stop.
Well, Rob,
stop the bickering between groups. And your group has something to teach me, and maybe we could teach something to another group. So we need more of cohesiveness with the paranormal field, and I think that the answers of life will come out a lot easier.
I agree. Amen.
100% agree. And that has been sort of the mantra of Get Haunted from the get-go. We put on events. We love to have co-hosts, especially when it was you, right? We brought in Silence Paranormal, a team of deaf women from New England that, oh my God, we did SS Methods sign language version. Never in a million years thought about doing that. Well, we learned from them. We don't know it all. We never will. Neither does Wade, neither does Dan, neither does anybody. So when we all come together is when we actually truly learn and understand the things that we're looking forward towards as a community. So long story short, we love you, Wade. I know I love you. I had 20 hours in a car with you, and they were the best 20 hours that I have ever spent in any vehicle.
The conversations never stopped.
Not once.
I love that.
He didn't always answer me, Sarah. Like when sometimes my wit is so beyond amazing that Wade could not even give me
I answered him with a look.
Good for you, Wade. I love that you figured him out.
Yeah, he got the correct response. It's just all if he could interpret it.
Yeah. Listen. In the end, it is about not competition. And when we come together, it truly opens up so many more beautiful opportunities for the people we all say we're doing it for. And it's for each and every one of you in the paranormal community. So let's share together in this big, beautiful journey of what we don't know. Let's share. And when we can't be, we don't have to love each other, but can we choose kindness? Let's choose kindness more than we don't. If you don't like somebody, keep moving.
Yeah, identify gossip and say, I'm walking from that.
Yeah.
You know.
Wade, I do like you.
Oh,
I like you. Like, I like you.
Okay, all right. Thank you. What can I say?
You know what? You're a good soul. You're a good human. So thank you for being the paranormal community.
Thank you. I got to live with myself, so I might as well try to be good.
I love that. I love that. Well, we're going to let Wade get back to his amazing life right there as caretaker and keeper of all things haunted. Wade, thank you so much for your time. And thank you. I feel honored that we were your first live.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. I would have never known that. You just went right with it. You were amazing. Amazing.
Okay, I could talk about the build up to this because when I first presented this to Wade, he was like, "What? No. What if this happens? What if that?" So we did. We walked through it. Wade was reluctant to come on. He does not like being the center of attention. Wade, I'm very much the same way. Believe it or not. Like he didn't. He was so. But Wade, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good. You gotta get over that. I mean, you got to get to where you're like simply on a phone call, one-on-one, and share the information. That's all. It's not about me. It's about the information being put out there. And a lot of laughter and fun, too.
Yeah, but there's a little bit about you. There's a little bit about you because your personality is actually heartwarming and super fun. And even my dog agrees right now. He's like, let's go, Dad.
You're very kind. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Wade.
Rob.
Seriously, I can't wait to spend more time with you in the future. Which will be Friday.
I'll see you Friday.
Yeah, you'll be Friday. Am I good? Can you hear me? Because my bugs. We're good.
Where am I? I can't figure out this camera thing. Yes, you're good.
Okay, good. Well, I just want to say to everybody on the side, thank you guys for being here for our midweek show tonight at 8 p.m. that it started to meet the amazing N.E.S.P.R, Dan and Wade. As always, we see you, we love you, we appreciate you. Thank you for your support. And please, if you don't, please go support N.E.S.P.R. Also, all the information to the Paracon, Seekers of the Supernatural, is listed in the show notes, but you will also see anything that you need for that Paracon will be listed right there on the pages. So don't worry, you'll be able to find it. We will make sure to promote that. And if you... I don't even know. If you want to learn more about N.E.S.P.R, you can go right to their Facebook page. And you do have a website, correct?
Oh, yes. By the way, one more thought. It's very interesting. And I'm going to make it 10 seconds. The paranormal, like when you go to a resident and you're investigating a situation as a residential, the way the demonic works nowadays is so much different than it was with Mr. and Miss Warren. There are still the foundations of their actions, but there's a whole new tactic, especially in the past 3 years back to now. It is fascinating. They've geared up, and we have to do the same.
Oh, there's a spiritual war.
Not a war, but they've gained aggression in their tactics of oppression. Okay. Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah,
that is fascinating. All right, well,
another talk.
We need to have you back on.
Yep.
You just opened up a whole new conversation, Wade.
You're coming back, Wade.
Well, thank you. My pleasure.
Billy has a question. I don't think we're moving it to 8 p.m., but if we get this many viewers every time, we should.
Right? Everybody's like, does this work better for you guys?
I don't know. We'll do a poll.
We'll do a poll. We'll
put
a poll.
Polls will do a poll.
Yeah, right. Demons did research on humans and thoughts, and we need to step up our game. No kidding, Trevor. Like the demons were like, look what they're doing.
Trevor, think of it this way. They don't sleep. We sleep 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
They don't sleep, and they're thinking about how to get you in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
You see, not to scare anyone, but it's fascinating, and we're learning as well because things are changing. It's very interesting. The opposite of boring. I can't think of anything more interesting. Nothing on Netflix or Travel Channel, or not that I watch that, but it's just endlessly fascinating.
I agree.
Wednesdays with Wade. I like that. Thank you, Bethany. Wednesday with Wade. All right. Well, with that, we're going to let everybody get a good night's sleep because it is Wednesday night. You have work tomorrow. It is Thursday. Guys, do not forget on the Get Haunted YouTube and their pages, the network pages and the main page, you will be able to watch Rob get to walk through the Warrens Occult Museum with Wade, with Dan. This is a complete honor. We are so humbled by this invitation, and we are so excited to share this experience with everybody because this isn't just about us. This is so iconic. It's so amazing, and we're excited. And thank you for allowing us to get a peek inside of this amazing location that Ed and Lorraine really painstakingly put together.
And thanks to Tony and Judy N.E.S.P.R for the permission and allowing this to happen.
Yes.
And it's going to be educational. Look forward to it.
It really is. So 8 p.m. Eastern time, guys, do not want to miss this. Wade, thank you, kind sir, for your time.
My pleasure.
We appreciate you. And with that, everybody, we're going to sign off and end our evening as well. Oh my God, they're all like saying goodbye. There we go. All right. Sorry, everybody's like freaking out here on this side.
I know. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much. And we will talk. We'll see you soon. I'll see you Friday.
Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern
Friday.
time. All right, guys. Night.